Jimmy, another 2-week absence with no games. It's difficult at the moment, given the situation, not just here but at other clubs. Just how is it affecting preparation as of late?
It's difficult, and I've made. I think I've made the point several times that I thought it derailed us massively. After the last COVID, we had a nice run of games, a nice run of results. Was it perfect, picture perfect the way we wanted it? No, it wasn't. But we were improving game by game and week by week, and it somewhat derailed us. That 14-day layoff, and it's been a little bit different this time because last time round it was pretty much everybody that had to isolate. This time it was 13, 14 players and a couple of members of staff. So we were able in some capacity to the ones that weren't involved in that squad, the injured players could continue to rehab. The subs that weren't in and around the change room and didn't have that contact, with the players that played against Chesterfield on that Tuesday night. So it's somewhat a little bit different this time round, but it's frustrating, and one of the things that isn't helping is a lack of testing within our league, and dare we look at the doom and gloom side of things. I can see this happening on a regular case, where teams aren't testing, and then somebody has symptoms and they go away and they get tested and they have it, and it puts a halt to the season again. So it's probably affected us a little bit worse than most clubs. There's obviously a few clubs sat on the amount of games that we've played this season within our league campaign, and we're playing catch up. So it's difficult because you have the expectancy then to rearrange those fixtures and play with a short window, and the fixture congestion is already piled up, and this just adds to that congestion.
I was going to touch on the testing because at the start of the season we thought, being elite, we almost missed out on starting the season, and now still being elite, Premier League players, Championship, they get tested week in, week out. National League players aren't, but still being asked to go into work every day.
Yeah, it's something that's I think starting to become a bit of an issue, and I think there are lots of more people, and I speak to other coaches, other managers, other players within this league who aren't comfortable with it, everybody has lots of different circumstances and different situations where potentially a positive case could really have an impact on home life, and whilst we were desperate for it to continue and have that normality, I think at some stage we need to address it, because there will be an element of health and safety and welfare that comes into it, and I think we have to look beyond stalling our campaign, beyond having an impact on our physicality and our performance in how we perform in the games and results, and playing catch up, and look at the bigger picture, and it could possibly put lives at risk, and it's something that I think is going to get the question is going to get posed a hell of a lot more in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
It just shows, doesn't it, because we were due to play 9 times this month, and 18, 19 days into it we've played twice, and twice since the last FA Trophy game as well. So it just shows the situation we're in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost impossible to plan as thoroughly as you want to, and football's about momentum, as everybody knows, and if you lose a game and perform poorly, you want the next one thick and fast to rectify and put it right. On the flip side of that, when you're winning games and you're performing well, and I thought we performed very, very well for large parts of the game against Chesterfield. I thought our second half performance was outstanding. We want the next game to come, and things that were out of our control, let's just leave it as that. Things that are out of our control, put us at risk, and and put us in a position of missing another 10 days, and cancelling the fixture that we're going to play tomorrow night from Saturday, and moving that, which means we lose a league fixture, which means we play catch up again. So at this moment in time, it's not healthy. But as I say, you can only control the controllables, and that's what we'll look to do. We'll look to try and avoid these hurdles, or step aside and step over these hurdles as best we possibly can, and make sure we get back into the swing of things.
Is the one saving grace that tomorrow's tie will be completed on the day, and no replays, no extra time? So whether it takes penalties or whatnot, then we can complete that and then move on to the league action.
Paramount importance, yeah. If that was a replay, or even going into extra time, obviously our first game back was in the FA Cup against Morecambe, and I'd have probably took a replay to get them back to our place, 2-2 draw, and it goes to extra time, and we end up getting knocked out of the FA Cup, but we've got an extra 30 minutes in our legs, having had 14 days off. So yeah, paramount importance this game gets resolved, and the result either way tomorrow evening.
I guess looking from the outside, the Aldershot, they're slightly inconsistent, but they've shown home and away that they can pick up and grind out results.
I think there's a handful of teams. If you stood and you look at the league, I think there's a handful of teams that have had, a sustained consistency. I think it's, we keep saying about unprecedented times before the start of the season on how will people come back, how will they respond. You can look at the top divisions and top leagues in the Premier League, and there's that Liverpool failed to score in the last 3 games, and it's a unique season. So I don't think they're on their own in terms of being a little bit up and down with their form. Some might say and look at Solihull Moors and say we've been in exactly the same mould, and they've got some good players, and I wouldn't underestimate. I know it's a trophy game, but obviously within our league, I wouldn't underestimate anybody within our league fixtures. I think on any given day, anybody can beat anybody, and there's some good teams and some strong teams, and they're one of them. They have some really, really good threats in around that final third. They have a clear way of playing. I've watched them now over 2 to 3 games, and that identity is there to see. And whether they're on top in games or the momentum slightly against them, they stick to their guns. So they've got a clear method and a clear way of playing.
Has this 2-week layoff given you the chance to maybe welcome back a few players into the fold and get more minutes out on the training pitch for them?
Yeah, one or two have been able to obviously bridge the gap with having no games and get a little bit closer to being in and around the team. And as we mentioned before, we had a group that didn't have to isolate because they had no contact with that group that had the group that did have to isolate. So they've been able to continue their rehab, continue their work on the grass, and of course that time's going to be added. It's going to be a benefit for those players because they're closer to that first team group again.
I guess the 2 long-term ones were Callum Howe and Adam Rooney. I guess is Cal maybe halfway through his rehab now?
Yeah, more than that. I think Cal's on about 6 weeks now. So he's out. Nice to see him out on the grass and jogging and getting on the move, and did some straight line running and things like that. So it's nice to see that he's over he's coming down the hill now. He's gone to the top of the hill and gone through a lot of struggle and a lot of pain, and now he can start seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And listen, we said at the start of the season, or when he first had his injury, what a big blow he'll be. And I think the season's proved that. With him and Alex and Adam Rooney not being available, and three pivotal players that play in the spine of your team, it has an impact on our team. Fortunately, where we sit right now is we have Alex Gudger right back in around the mix, in around the fold, and Roon, hopefully will expose some minutes over the next 2 games.
So more positives, and I guess the rest of the squad are fully fit and ready for the trophy action.
Yeah, one or two with a couple of niggles, and and again you're going to have that. You're going to have that when people have a 10-day layoff and they can't get out of the house, and it's obviously very, very different at our level. Not for all the players, because some of the players do have an exercise bike or a spin bike or a treadmill at home. A lot of players don't. If you're a Premier League player and you haven't got any symptoms and you're okay to work, you've probably got a gym the size of what we're sitting now, and they can crack on and maintain their fitness. So it's always difficult when people have that 10 days where they can't get out and can't go out, by letter of the law, they can't go outside and can't walk or can't run because they have to isolate and stay indoors, and then to expose them into the environment of the intensity that we want to work at, we have to be careful with them. So one or two have got a few little sores and a few little niggles, and ones we have to monitor very, very, very cautiously over the next 7 to 10 days.
Just finally, I know the main thing that pleased you from the Chesterfield win was getting back to playing our way and our style of football, and is that more what you're looking forward from tomorrow night's game?
Yeah, it's something that we've it's been part of our success. So once in the games that we've got positive results, we've played that way, and for some reason we came away from it, and that might be due to a bit of physicality and the demands of how we want to play with and without the ball relies on an intensity and playing with a purpose, and those things were probably knocked with the COVID, and those things that we look at joining together on our lack of ability to play our way, and maybe that decrease in physicality were there for all to see. So 100% we have to get back to controlling the way that we play, controlling games, and being really brave with it as well. And there's going to be times where we take a hit on the nose, and I'd rather do that playing the right way and performing our way and having a go than being a little bit mixed and being on the wrong end of a result. So 100% back to trying to play, dare I say it, the Solihull way.